Hello, everyone. Today I'm joined by Gina Paige, the co-founder of AfricanAncestry.com. How you doing today, Gina?
I am Black and proud and grateful. How you doing, Tony?
I'm doing the same. Thanks for asking. So, for all those who aren't familiar, what is AfricanAncestry.com?
AfricanAncestry.com is the pioneer of genetic ancestry tracing for Black people around the world. In other words, we're the only company on the planet that uses DNA to tell Black people the present day African country and ethnic group that we share ancestry with.
And what inspired the creation of this company?
You know, I'm never quite sure how to answer this question. So what I will say, since this is a business format, the company was created by the community. So it was a clear case of demand. People had heard about my business partner, Dr. Rick Kittles, and the work that he had done with the African Burial Ground Project in New York to identify the ancestry of bones that were unearthed in a cemetery during the construction of a federal building in Lower Manhattan. And so when they found out that he was able to determine the ancestry of bones, he was inundated with requests. In fact, one day Howard University switchboard was practically shut down because there were so many people calling, wanting him to do that for them. And so that's the demand, right? And so when there's a demand, then you create the supply to meet it. And so he and I were introduced by a colleague at Howard, Dr. Cynthia Winston, and we collaborated partnered so that I could commercialize his research and make this incredible service available to anyone who wants it.
Wow. So in addition to providing DNA services, what other products or services does AfricanAncestry.com offer?
Well, thank you for asking. We have recently moved into the travel sector. And so once people find out where they're from, they're welcome to join us on an African Ancestry family reunion. And that is a specially curated birthright journey home to their country of ancestry. And so to date, we've gone to 2 countries. We've had 4 reunions, 3 in Sierra Leone, and we just completed our inaugural reunion in Ghana. Wow. And then we're going to Cameroon and Sierra Leone again.
Very nice. So tell us about the Ghana trip. How did that experience go?
I believe that the people who traveled with us had a blast. And, you know, Tony, it's interesting because we promote these trips to anyone who takes our test. But of course, it's the people whose home we're going to that are the most interested. So the majority of the people on the trip, we trace their ancestry to the Akan people in Ghana today, or the Ewe people living in Ghana today. But there was one person on the trip who we traced her ancestry to Cameroon, but she just wanted to go to Ghana with us, which was great. And then there was another sister on the trip who just wanted to go to Ghana. So she took the test so that she could come with us. So she hasn't even gotten her results yet. She doesn't have any idea where her ancestry is found. So we had an eclectic group and they had a great time. We traveled to 5 different regions in the country. We witnessed an installment of a development chief in the village of Name Bechere. And then we went to a high post party in the Bree Hills, where the party was from sunset to sunrise, overlooking Accra, all of Accra. We had a wide range of experiences, from making sure that we covered the Ashanti region, where the Akan people are from, so that they were able to get that, making sure that we visited Cape Coast dungeons so that they could see how our ancestors were captured and held before being enslaved in the Americas and the Caribbean. But then, we also stayed in 5-star hotels and did a wide range of activities. So a good time was had by all. But in addition to it being a good time, it was extremely transformative and very powerful because for everyone on the trip, this was their first time visiting the continent. Oh, and wow. So, I don't take that lightly. That was a very important component of their experience.
Definitely, definitely. So why is this work important to you? What makes you passionate about what you do? Don't cry.
I'm not gonna cry. Speaking of crying, though, let me tell you, we do what we call reveals. You're aware of these reveals. Mm-hmm. We've revealed your wife, Chantal. Mm-hmm. So we do these reveals where people who have taken the test but don't know their results receive their results in a public format. And so we did a reveal at Cape Coast Dungeons, if you can believe that, on the other side of the door of return. So the door of no return. The door of no return is the last door that captured Africans were taken through as they were led to the shores to get on ships to go, But we've now changed that narrative and we're all going back home, right? So this door of no return has become the door of return. All of that to say that we did a reveal of 3 people at the door of return. And I started crying before, as soon as we hit the door. We weren't anywhere near doing the reveal and I was crying, but I'm not going to cry now, Tony. Stop that. Stop. What makes me passionate about this is the people. So this is information, Tony, knowing where we're from, specifically in Africa, as people of African descent, is a complete mystery. When we were stolen from Africa, the intention was to disconnect us from everything that defines who we are, our names, our families, our languages, our ancestral traditions, everything, right? Mm-hmm. And it was a huge success. It was a masterfully executed plan to disconnect an entire group of people. And so we're not supposed to know where we're from. We're not supposed to reconnect. That disrupts the plan when we take ownership. And there's no way to know where exactly we come from because there are no genealogical records that get us back to our tribes and to our villages. DNA is the only way. And so that's what makes me passionate. This is an act of resistance. We're not supposed to know. People don't, the establishment doesn't want us to know. And yet a Black scientist said, no, I want to know where I'm from. And I'm going to use this technology to identify the ancestry of a cemetery full of enslaved Africans and millions of people across the diaspora. And so it's the people that get me excited because of their thirst for knowledge, their desire to want to reconnect, and then their trust or the trust that they put in us as African ancestry to make that happen for them. You can't help but be passionate when you're sticking it to the people who want you to believe that your history started on a plantation, or your history started from a group of savages that didn't have any culture. There's no better feeling in the world than to stick it to them with the truth, right? With the truth and the facts.
No, I hear that. So there are a few other DNA companies out there. Tell us how yours differs from what's already in existence.
Mm-hmm. I love this question. So there are so many ways that we're different. In addition to us being the first to focus on the ancestry of Black people, we are actually one of the first in the industry, period. In 2023, we'll be celebrating our 20th anniversary. Wow. So we're not new to this. We've been doing this for 2 decades now. We're the only Black-owned company in the industry that does what we do. We're the only Black woman-led company in the industry that does what we do. We're the only company that can give this level of specificity in terms of results. So the other companies out there, they'll tell you you're some percentage African, you're some percentage European, whatever else, right? Then within Africa, they'll say you're some percentage from this region. We're going to call this region Nigeria, and we're going to call this region Ghana / the Ivory Coast. And we're going to call, you know, they've segmented the continent into these makeshift regions. And they give you these percentages, but we give you the present day country and the ethnic group. So we're going to tell you that you share ancestry with the Limba people in Sierra Leone, or the Mandinka people in Senegal, or the Ateke people in Gabon. So we're the only company that gets that specific. And the reason we're able to get that specific is because we have the largest database of African samples in the world. African maternal and paternal DNA samples. And so we have over 33,000 samples from Africans across the continent. We have almost 40 countries represented and hundreds of ethnic groups, but all of West and Central Africa, because that's where we were taken from during the slave trade. Our closest competitor might have almost 3,000 samples. Wow. So you're talking about, do you want a result based on comparing you to 3,000 Africans or 33,000 Africans? You know, do you want to know some percentage of ancestry, or do you want to know the place where then you can explore the traditions and the values and the practices and the beliefs and all of that?
Yeah.
And then the other way that we're different is that we're the only company in the industry that does not sell or share our customers' genetic information. In fact, we destroy the DNA at the lab once a result is determined, and no other company is doing that. They are monetizing their customers' DNA after they give them their results. So those are some of the ways. And then, did I mention that we're Black owned, Black founded, Black funded, all Black staff, work with Black suppliers and vendors. So we're recycling the Black dollar as much as we can.
Fantastic. So what did your reveal, and how did that affect you when you found out?
I hate this question. I hate this question because, you know, I actually never took the test.
What?
I have not taken the test. So our test traces the ancestry of a lineage, or you can think of it as one branch of the family tree. So when one person traces their maternal ancestry, it reflects their mother's line going back 2,000 years. That means that the results are the same for everybody in the family on that branch of the tree. So my mother took the test.
Okay.
I didn't take it. And when she took it, then I got the answer. My cousins got the answer. My aunt and uncle got the answer. My grandmother, her brothers and sisters, their kids. So we didn't really have a reveal. But when I got the results, I'm going to be real honest, it didn't really impact me at the time.
Okay.
Because it was right at the beginning of the company, and you know what it's like to have a startup. And my 100% of my focus was on making sure that the people who took the test had the best experience. Right. And so I didn't think of it at all for myself. I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. My maternal ancestry is shared by the Fulani people living in Nigeria today. So I know that Fulani women are beautiful. I know the iconic earrings and jewelry. I know that they were nomads and moved all across from the Sahel to the Sahara. I knew those things about the Fulani, but never really internalized it. My father took the test to trace my paternal line, father to father to father, And that line shares ancestry with the Hausa people living in Nigeria today. And didn't really think about that until a customer who doesn't use the internet, because the digital divide was real then and it's still real today. And he asked me to tell him about the Hausa people. His results were Hausa. And so I had to stop what I was doing, look at the DVD that we had sent him at the time. We were sending a DVD. And I started reading that the Hausa people were the money changers and that they were the traders in the community. And I got goosebumps when I was reading that, because that's the page line, which is Hausa, and every single page that I know and every descendant of a page in our family is a business owner.
Wow.
I mean, my father's one of 7. They all are entrepreneurs. My grandparents were entrepreneurs. Their parents were business owners. And so I was like, oh, okay, this is saying something, you know. I come by this honestly. So yeah, but I think I've been more impacted by sharing the information with others. That has hit me much harder.
Gotcha. And what are some, or you can tell us like one reaction or result that kind of like stands out to you?
Oh, there's so many. My favorite one, I think now, is he's not little anymore. There was a kid at the time, he was like 9, I think, in Dallas, Texas. His name is Julian, and he is a business owner. He is the step stool chef. And I met his mother, and she said, oh my God, you know, I want to get this kit for you. My son, he just keeps asking me, where are we from? Where are we from? He really wants to know. He's serious about it. And I was like, a kid? Cool, bet, let's do it. And I was like, where is he? Is he near, you know, can we talk? What's up? So I made him a video. And I was like, hey, Julian, you know, I got all into it because I love kids. Anyway, we went to Dallas to do the reveal for Julian. We had an African Ancestry meetup in Dallas, and he came and was our guest. And when I asked him why he wanted to take the test, he said he goes to this prestigious private school in Dallas, and every year they have a global day. Their school goes global, and they put a big world map up on the wall, and each student is supposed to put a pin in the map in the country that they come from. And he said, I didn't have any place to put my pin. I was like, wow. And he was 9. So we did the reveal. We found his maternal roots in Cameroon among the Tikar people, and also Bioko Island, which is part of Equatorial Guinea off the coast of Cameroon, the Bubi people. And when I asked him, how did he feel? You know, I didn't really expect a 9-year-old to, because I ask adults that and they're just like, because it's a lot, right? They're speechless. They don't know how they feel in the moment, overwhelmed. And he said, I feel great. Now I can put 2 pins in the map. And I thought, this is why we do it, right? This is exactly why we do the work of teaching and history, for our kids to have that sense of belonging and pride and place at 9.
That's crazy.
Yeah, so that's I think my favorite right now.
So switching gears a little bit back to the business side of things, like what are your long-term goals for AfricanAncestry.com?
You want me to give away the secrets, Tony?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, I'm not going to give you the secrets. But what I will tell you is, I know I can tell you our long-term goals. So right now we use DNA to effectively help Black people with our psychological well-being. Being the original victims of identity theft, there's a void. You can't know who you are if you don't know where you're from. And we see that void. I call it the Africa void. We see it manifest in so many different ways, from colorism to the way our kids are educated and not educated using culturally relevant educational tools, to the way we view each other as Africans and African Americans, specifically here with the negative stereotypes that still exist, to the way society views us because of our Blackness, which is a direct result of our Africanness. So we're just, our identities and sense of self are severely impacted by the lack of connection to Africa. And so this is really a psychological service that we offer to help with your well-being. But of course, we're in 2022 right now. And we know that DNA can be used to help everyone with our physical well-being. And so we are uniquely positioned to be able to help Black people start to think about the benefits of researching their DNA, our DNA, to improve our physical health. And so that's our longer term goal, is to use DNA to help Black people with their physical well-being in addition to the psychological well-being.
That's what's up. And lastly, what would you say is the most rewarding thing about what you're doing? I knew you were going to ask me this question, and there's too many answers. Where I am right now, I think the most rewarding thing about what we're doing is that we are supporting the African American economy. I mentioned this before. Our customers are Black, so we receive money, revenue from Black people. Mm-hmm. All of our employees are Black, so we pay Black people. As many of our suppliers and vendors as possible are Black-owned businesses. So now we're getting the goods and services that we use to conduct business from people who look like us. Yeah. That's what I'm the most proud of. And then, we have people who have had babies working in African Ancestry. We got 3 or 4 African Ancestry babies, which means now we're impacting generations just from an economic standpoint. And that's something to be proud of, and to have been doing that for almost 2 decades now puts us in a league that not many are in. And so I'm very proud of that. It's definitely something to be proud of. And I'm happy that you're doing the work that you're doing. And I'm proud of what you've accomplished so far as a company. I think it's extremely important. And I wish you all the best and continued success with what's going on that end.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate your support of African Ancestry. And we're down with SHOPPE BLACK.
That's what's up. That's what's up. So the people that are trying to get in contact with you, where can they find AfricanAncestry.com? What channels can they go to figure out all the good stuff?
So they can visit our website, which you just said, AfricanAncestry.com. We're on Instagram and Facebook as African Ancestry. We're on Twitter as African Ancestry, and we're on YouTube as African Ancestry DNA. So pretty much all of the platforms. We're not quite on TikTok yet. We're there, but we haven't made any TikTok content yet. But those are the places that you can reach us. And, if you talk to people, you probably know someone who's taken the test. And so I encourage people to ask about us. We have a very good reputation as far as word of mouth goes. And, that's what really counts when you're a Black-owned business.
I agree. I agree. Well, thanks so much, Gina, for stopping by. It's a pleasure as always, and you have a great rest of the evening.
Thank you, Tony.